All right. Hello. Very good day to you all. How's it going? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Come back yoga. 8 o'clock on the nose. How's everybody doing out there? Yeah. Well, it is an honor to be here. My name is Eric. I'll be your guide over the next 25 minutes or so. And I am here representing Comeback Yoga. I am a veteran of the United States Marine Corps. And it is an honor to serve Comeback Yoga as they provide free yoga classes and trainings for veterans up and down the Front Range of Colorado, all the way out to the slopes of the western slopes of Colorado. And then, of course, who knows, internationally, out there all over the world via YouTube. So it is an honor and a pleasure. If you have the ability to come and see us in person, we'd love to see you. We'd love to have you in class. And then if you have the ability to donate resources, we sure could use your help. It's a tremendous mission, and we serve a lot of veterans, and we could use your help. So without further ado, though, let's go ahead and get into our class. Now, this class is targeting the upper body, and the emphasis on the class is on rhythm and flow. There is a term in yoga called vinyasa. Vinyasa is flow, or the locker room, or there's a locker room term in the West that describes this, and it's called being in the zone. Being in the zone. What do you do in life, or what happens in life where you find yourself being in the zone? What is it? It could be a sport or an art, any of those, but being in the zone. What do you notice? What do you notice? Well, we are going to work on that today, because I'm here to tell you that being in the zone doesn't have to just depend on the winds of life or doing your favorite activity. All right. I'll give you an example. I used to play rugby. I played rugby for many years, and you get into this zone, right, where it's just happening and you're in flow. All right. And so whatever it is that you're doing, we want to foster the breath, and then linking intention with attention. Intention with attention. And when we link that breath and the movement along with attention and intention, we have flow. And we can do it anytime we want. We can do it anytime you want. So let's work on our skill set. All right. So the couple of the breaths that we've been working in this particular class is in through the nostril and out through the nostril, no pausing in the breath cycle. And then in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. This will help drop the heart rate. When you breathe through those pursed lips, it elongates that exhale, and it helps promote parasympathetic response. That's your rest and digest. So we'll be using both breaths throughout the practice, and I'll cue it. But the main breath, if I don't cue it, is in through the nostril, out through the nostril, no pausing in the breath. With each breath a little bit longer, if possible, or longer on the inhale, longer on the exhale, and always looking to soften the breath. Always looking to soften the breath. All right. So let's go ahead and sit up, drawing your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck and broaden through the collarbone. Notice your tailbone And if you can imagine or use your imaginastics, as I call it, but notice the tailbone hook right into the center of the earth. Now, I know it's not hooking in the center of the earth, but it's a sensation that you are hooking into the center of the earth. That is your point of gravity. Right? Now, take your attention and just feel right up your spine. You just feel right up your spine to the top of your head, and then right through the top of your head into the universe. All right, and draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through your collarbone, and let your head just naturally come over your center of gravity. Now, this is a reference point of being grounded and centered. Grounded and centered, right over your center of gravity. I also call this your my sea legs. My sea legs. If you can stay in connection with this, your body will just be in balance throughout the day. And then let's go ahead and begin. Let's start with the neck. Let's go ahead and look over to the left, lengthening up through the back of the neck, and then looking over to the left. And let's take a nice big deep breath in through the nostril, and then out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips, and then come back into center. And then looking over the right shoulder, just have a nice stretch. You're looking over the right shoulder, and then breathing in through the nostril, and out through pursed lips. Smooth inhales, elongating in through the nostril, and then exhale through pursed lips like you're blowing out a candle. And then back to center. And then looking straight up. Okay, so looking straight up. So you want to stretch through the collarbone, stretch through the neck, looking up, and then breathe in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. And then come back to center. And then dropping the chin. Let the chin come to the chest and breathing in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, out through pursed lips, and then come back to center. So let's work on some natural movements. So we're going to look over to the left, and then looking straight up like you're looking at a meteor or a shooting star, looking straight up and coming up and over to the other side. Now you're looking over your right shoulder. And then looking straight up again, looking up, coming up and over to the other side. And then dropping the chin. And then dropping the chin again, coming up and over to the other side. And then coming back into center. And then you can just offer yourself some organic, natural movement. And then we'll come back into seat. And then let's work on the shoulder girdle. So let's find our goalposts here. All right, and find a nice big breath in through the nostril. And then breathing out through the nostril in conjunction with the movement, just reversing the goalposts. And then back in through the nostril. And then exhaling. Back in through the nostril. And then exhaling. And back in through the nostril. Linking that movement, no pausing in the breath cycle, no pausing in the movement cycle. Back into the nostril. And exhale. And one more. Big breath in. And then exhale. and then shake it out. Offer yourself some organic movement. And we'll come back to the goalposts. And then this time, we're going to in through the nostril. And then on the exhale, go ahead and squeeze. So bringing the elbows together, squeezing. And then on the inhale, extending, like you're pinching a pencil in between your back. And then on the exhale, squeezing, bringing together. And then on the inhale, opening up and squeezing. On the exhale, squeezing. And then on the inhale, pinching that pencil in between your shoulder blades. And then on the exhale, and then on the inhale. And then go ahead and finish it up on the exhale. And then go ahead and shake it out. Offer yourself a little shake out. All right. And then let's work on the side body, hands behind your head. And then a little left, little right. Little warm up. We want to open up the thoracic cavity for the lungs to breathe. All right. When we're dealing with stress or anxiety or anything along those lines, we have a tendency to hold our breath. Hold our breath, and it starts to constrict constrict and close up the thoracic cavity. There's a tightness. It's like when you feel tight in the chest. So let's open this up. Let's come back up into center. And then I'll be your mirror. So let's go up and over to your right. So you're lifting up through your left armpit or the left side body, like you're lifting up the ribs up into the ceiling. And on the inhale, you're breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril. In through the nostril and out through the nostril. And breathing, no pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth inhales, smooth exhales, and looking for pleasant sensations. I haven't mentioned that in this class, in other classes I have. Come on back up. But everything we do, we want to look for pleasant sensations. Even if you're like, I don't see any pleasant sensations, we still want to look for them. All right. So any type of relaxation, big organic breaths, or easing of the mind. And then let's go back up and over to the other side. So smooth inhale, smooth exhales, in through the nostril, out through the nostril. And then find the sweet spot on a scale of 1 to 10. We're looking for that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement where you're engaged yet relaxed. Engaged yet relaxed. You feel a nice stretch, but you don't overdo it. You don't want to underdo it or overdo it. Finding the sweet spot. And then come on back up into center. And then let's do some seated cat-cows. I'll give you a side profile. So the cat, you want to press the torso forward, looking up. So you're stretching through the neck, through the collarbone, and accentuating the C curve of the lumbar spine. So pressing forward on the inhale. And then on that exhale, tucking the chin, pressing the forehead towards the knees, and then pressing the spine backwards. So you see this undulation of the spine. And then right back into the inhale, the cow. And then on the exhale, pressing the chin. And back and forth. No pausing in the breath cycle. No pausing in the movement cycle. Look for pleasant sensations. Find the sweet spot. And if you need to add, or if you want to add some organic movement in there, any variation, as long as you're feeling good. That's what the whole point of the exercise is. And then finish up and come back into center. And let's go ahead and open up the wrist before we do our, so open up the wrist. So windshield wipers, just unlocking these joints. All right, back and forth, and then dropping down left and right windshield. And then you bring them to a point and then open up the phalanges, the fingers. All right, you just wide open and then real fast. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, and then just shake it out. And let's give ourselves, offer yourself a twist. So lengthen through the top of the neck, broaden through the collarbone, shoulders back and down. And then take your left hand, put it on your tailbone, and your right hand on your left knee. And you want to lift up and over to the left. And breathing up and over. And up and over. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. If you feel like blowing through pursed lips, you may. But smooth inhales, smooth exhales. And then come back to center. Take the right hand, put it on the tailbone. The left hand to the left hand, or right, a left hand to the right knee, and lifting up and over. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth the inhales, smooth the exhales. Find the sweet spot. Find any pleasant sensation that you can. And release. Shake it out. All right. And then the next exercise is a wide-legged squat. It might look like also a exercise for the lower body, which it is, but it does so much for the upper body to realign. So let's go ahead and find a wide-legged squat. Take a wide step and then just drop the tailbone. And then find your sweet spot. You can support yourself with some blocks. Don't overdo it. Find the sweet spot and then look for pleasant sensations. So as you're going through the day, all right, through this practice or through the day, looking for pleasant sensations, that would mean anything that might relax or go from tight to light, or you might notice a shift from tight to light, or you might notice a pleasant, healthy sensation of vibration or flow or tingly sensation. All right, as long as it feels healthy. All right. Another sensation that feels good is taking a big organic breath. You know, that breath that just comes out of nowhere. Or a sigh, or even a yawn. These are all releases. These are all signs of releases. And then another category of pleasant sensation is when you notice that the mind is still and you find yourself to be very present here, now, intent. These are all pleasant sensations. So this is what I'm going to invite you to look for throughout the practice. And then as we go into the rest of the day, throughout the rest of the day. So I suggest about 2 minutes of this, and that's going to be good enough. Now, a good way to come out of this is just to open up your legs and then shake it out. Just give it a good shake. You see this is called composement. This little pounding of the legs. There you go. All right. And then we'll come back to seat. All right, let's go ahead and stimulate the rest of the cranial nerves and the glands. So give yourself a hug. We're going to balance out the heart rate. Give yourself a hug. This is oxytocin. And then your eyeballs are going to be in the top of your head, and take a big breath in through the nostril and then exhale through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, looking up, and let it go looking down. And then switch it up, left arm over right. Your eyes to the top of your head, big breath in through the nostril, and exhale through pursed lips. Breath in through the nostril, looking up, and let it go looking down. And then shake it out. Shake out just some organic movement. And then the next exercise is we're going to balance out the brain and stimulate the hypothalamus. All right. And so I call this snap and tap, or turning off the TV in the head. Okay. And you just give a little wave or a little snap in your peripheral vision. And when this will stimulate the left and right hemisphere of the brain. It's just like a comm check. Okay, a little tap on the head, real soft and easy. You feel that little tap on the head. All right, and then a little snap looking left and snap looking right. And looking to the left and looking to the right. A little tap on the head. Okay. And then just look right at the TV. What do you see? Are you just looking at what you're looking at? Can you see that the TV has slowed down? All right. Now the thumb's on the temple. And then you just massage the forehead. You just massage the forehead. Bringing blood into the prefrontal lobe, the neocortex, the crowning jewel of the human species. All right, this is where we learn. This is where we find contentment. This is where we find fulfillment. This is where we improve a skill set. This is where we find happiness. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Coal, C-O-A-L. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. And then shake it out. And the little tap, you just get a little tap. Just a little stimulation of the peripheral nervous system coming down. And then touch the left shoulder to the right knee, right shoulder, left knee. A little crisscross applesauce. And then tapping the bones of the face. You want to tap the bones of the face. Above the eyebrow. The other eyebrow. And then the cheekbones. And the chin, collarbone. And the sternum of the thymus. And then tap the forehead right over the top of the head to about C7. And then come on into seat. All right, let's bring the practice into the rest of the day. Draw your shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck. And then notice your center of gravity. Grounded, centered, here now, present. No, recognize that relaxed attentiveness, that relaxed present attentiveness. No pausing in the breath cycle, in through the nostril and out through the nostril. Will relax the animal brain, and your sense of time will relax. Always find the sweet spot in everything that you do, that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement where you are engaged yet relaxed. And then throughout the day, I'd like for you to invite you to look for pleasant sensations throughout the entire day. Any opportunity for the body to relax, big organic breaths, sighs, or any opportunities for the mind to just be still, and you just recognize that you are present here, now, content, at peace. I will be so bold to let you know that this is your most natural state. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Have a tremendous day. Namaste.